Hey everybody! I hope that my Wi-Fi holds up because I was just doing another video in my team page and sorry, my hair is just a little wind blown today. We were out at Lake Michigan at my brother's one of my brother's cottage all day. It was a really nice day. So just slightly wind blown, but it was beautiful. So happy Labor Day to everybody. Okay, what is hair porosity, first of all? Why do you need to know it? And why do you need to know what your hair porosity is? I'm actually learning a lot about hair porosity lately, and that it really does matter. You will have different results with the hair stuff that you use depending on your hair porosity. So mine being different from yours, I could use the same products that you're using and get totally different results. Or you might get totally different results on your hair because your hair porosity might be totally different than mine. So what is porosity? It means how porous your hair is. Hair strands, each tiny little hair strand on your scalp, every hair strand has layers. It has 3 different layers. I don't know what all of the names are, okay? But I just know that the cortex is the middle. And then the outer is the, oh my goodness, cuticle is what it's called, okay? So the cuticle of your hair, it's like, almost like fish scales. It's like a sheath. Let's say this is the hair strand, and on the outside layer, it's the cuticle, and it's like a sheath, and it's layers, or like, I would say fish scales, or like roof tiles, like tiles on your roof, okay? And so if your hair is very porous, we say that's high porosity. And then those tiles or those scales are all like sticking out a little bit. They're all like lined up. And I'll try to put a picture in the comments of what the different porosity looks like and what your cuticle looks like. So on all of your hairs, it's almost rough on the edges all around because those scales are like, they're all like flipped out, okay? And it lets water in, it lets moisture into your hair, all of that. But because it's highly porous, it also lets water and moisture and oils that you might put on your hair, it lets them out fast too. It lets them in really fast, but it lets them out really fast. So it gets dry super fast. So that's high porosity, okay? Medium porosity is they're just sticking out just a little bit, maybe like that, but not very much. And so that would be sort of like normal hair. It doesn't get super dry, it doesn't get super oily. It lets some moisture in and it can retain it pretty well. But then low porosity hair, it's low porous. So it is very tightly sheathed. So all of the like tiles of your cuticle, of your hair cuticle are very tightly like stuck down against the hair strand, and they don't let much moisture in, but once you get the moisture in, it also doesn't let much moisture out. So it can be a good thing, especially when you're using Monate, because Monate, the oil in Monate, the Rejuvenate oil that's in our products, it's tiny little molecules that does penetrate into the cortex of your hair, even if you have low porosity hair. My hair is low porosity. And so this is another thing that you will know. If you have low porosity hair, it feels like all of your products that you might put on can feel heavy. If they are oily or creamy, or if they're very thick kind of things, it can feel like it's setting on top of your hair. It's not getting in. That's because it's very tightly sheathed like that. So this matters because when you use your products, you want them to work the way that you want them to work, right? So I'm gonna tell you a test on how to tell if your hair is highly porous, high porosity, medium or low porous, very, doesn't let much moisture in or out, okay? Like mine is. So grab a little strand of hair from your head and pull it out. Okay, you probably hear that from there. There's a few different things you can do, okay? Before we do this other test, I'll tell you this one, okay? You can take a spray bottle and spray some water at it and see if the water beads up. If the water beads up, it means that it's not letting the water in. It's low porosity. It's very tightly sheathed, okay? If the water doesn't bead up at all, just like soaks right in to that hair strand, then it's probably high porosity. It's highly porous. It's letting that water in immediately. If it's medium, it's not going to really bead up or disappear immediately. Like you'll be able to tell that there's water there, but it's not just setting on top of the hair, okay? Another thing you can do with this, a little test that you can do with this strand of hair from your head, is run your fingers along it. And usually you want to try running it from, and you can do it with a strand that's on your head also, is feel if it feels smooth or if it feels rough. One strand of hair, run your hands down it, fingers down it, and then run your fingers up it like this. If when you go up like this, if it feels rough and kind of snaggy, one strand of hair, not multiple, but just one. If it feels a little snaggy or rough, then that means you're feeling that cuticle and it's highly porous. It's probably highly porous. If it feels very smooth and silky, whether you're running your fingers up the hair strand or down the hair strand, it feels smooth both ways, then it is low porosity. It's a very smooth and it's very tightly sheathed, okay? And that kind of hair, I'm gonna tell you those hair types and what kind of products you need to use on those different hair porosity types, okay? Now, the last test, this is my favorite one. Grab a glass of water that's like room temperature. Take that strand of hair that you just did those other little tests on and just drop it in the water. If your hair is low porosity, it's not gonna let the water in, it's going to set right on top of the water because it's very tightly sheathed and it doesn't let any moisture in, so it's not gonna sink. Mine, like I told you, is low porosity, so it's gonna set on top of that. You kind of wanna wait a couple of minutes just to see. Sometimes my hair will partially sink to the middle. If your hair sinks to the middle after a couple of minutes, the whole hair strand to the middle of the glass, then it is normal. It's not highly porous and it's not low porosity. But if it sinks to the bottom pretty quickly, then it is high porosity. It's like sucking up all that water and then it gets heavy and drops to the bottom. Okay, so mine is still on top. It is definitely low porosity, okay? And that is, I've known that about my hair. And so, like I said earlier in the video, low porosity hair is going to feel oily, like it's gonna feel, if you put a lot of product on it, it's gonna feel gross, like the products just sit on top of your hair. So you don't want to use a ton of product. With low porosity hair, you want to use light products like mousse, different kinds of spray, even detangler spray, lighter conditioners, not super thick, oily conditioners, things that are light. And thankfully, Mane, everything that we have is pretty light. It's not super heavy. You don't want to use too many creams all at once. If you use anything creamy or moisturizing for your hair and leaving it in to style your hair, like blowout cream even. You don't want to use a lot of it, and you don't want to use many like different creams. You just want to use probably just blowout cream. Like I wouldn't use blowout cream and curl cream on my hair because it would just set on top and make it feel heavy, okay, and weigh it down. But if your hair is highly porous, if it's high porosity, your hair sunk to the bottom of the glass of water, then you do want to use creamy, almost like heavier, thicker, more moisturizing, oil-based type of products, because even though it lets moisture in fast, it lets it out really fast too. So you want to use those type of products that are going to like bring a lot of moisture and hydration in and help it stay there. And thankfully, again, Monat products can do that. We have like the advanced hydrating that is excellent at keeping hydration in the hair for a long period of time. If you have high porosity hair, you definitely love the rejuvenating oil, and you don't have to keep reapplying it throughout the day. It's going to stay in your hair and keep it moisturized. So you want to use creamy, a little bit thicker, more oil-based and moisturizing products for high porosity hair, okay? Because that's going to soak right in. It's going to like, ooh, my hair loves this. You know, you're going to just know like, wow, it's just sucking it right up. And okay, so I lost you for a minute because my Wi-Fi is being kind of funny. So I'm gonna sign off, but let me know if you have any questions. And if you do this little test, 1, 2, or 3 of those tests, let me know what your results were. Let me know if you found out if your hair is high, medium, or low porosity, and I can show you the different products that work for that type of hair, okay? For like styling and stuff like that. Okay, I'll talk to you later.